Hello everybody, this is Jacob Tucker here and welcome back to another Flow video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to run scripts and transactions using the Flow CLI. So obviously the first step here is going to be to install the Flow CLI. You can go to this link. I'll leave a link to this in the description and you will just install this on your computer. I will go to my terminal here and I'll actually show you. Let me just clear everything. If you type in Flow version, after you have installed the Flow CLI, this means, and you get a version back, this means that you have successfully installed it. So if you run Flow version and you get a version back, that means you have successfully installed. I have already installed, so I'm not going to do it, but you can just follow it. It's very simple. You just paste, if you're a Mac, paste this into your computer. If you're on Linux, paste this one. Pretty simple. So now that we have that, what I'm going to do is open up my VS Code here. This is a empty directory except for a contracts folder. I very simply just have pasted here the flow token contract and the fungible token contract. If you're curious, I use this website called Contract Browser. This is a browser for all Flow blockchain contracts. And I just look up, you can even see here, like if I click on Flow token, this gives you the source code for it. So very helpful for discovering contracts. And that's how I got the code to paste into my project here. The reason I have these contracts in my project is because we're going to be running scripts and transactions involving Flow token. And so we're going to need them inside of our project in order to do that. So first of all, let's go ahead and populate a Flow JSON here. So the way to do that is to go to your terminal in the directory that you're in and type flow init. And what this is going to do is, automatically generate a Flow JSON for you. This is what yours should look like as well. It should all be, pretty similar, just have a networks and accounts object. And so what we're going to do here is we're actually going to add a contracts object that contains the pointers to flow token and fungible token. So if we make a flow token object here, we can say the source is /contracts/flow token.cdc. This is just where it exists in your project. And then we're going to add some aliases. And aliases is basically where these contracts are deployed out in the world on emulator, on testnet, and on mainnet. On this video, I'm showing you how to run these on testnet and mainnet. So we're going to populate both of those. So let's do a testnet and also a mainnet. And so what we have to do now is we actually have to go and search for where the flow token contract is deployed on both of these networks. So let's go to here. This is obviously the mainnet address of flow token. So let's bring that back into our project. But we also need the testnet version. So I believe if we actually look up flow token here in Contract Browser, it will show you on both mainnet and testnet the addresses. Now, testnet may be a bit slow, but if we go, there it is. It shows us. We can click on flow token, and we're going to copy this address and paste that into our project as well. Now, we're also going to have to do this for fungible token. So let's actually just go ahead and copy and paste the flow token object right here, fungible token. And that is at /contract/fungible token.cdc. And so for testnet, we can actually see the address right here. This is where it's pointing to on testnet. So that is the testnet address. And then we have to also go get the mainnet one. So let's look that up, fungible token. And it looks like it's right here. So this is fungible token. We'll copy that, easy. And again, the reason that we wanted to get these is because when we're running the scripts and transactions, using the Flow CLI, the CLI needs to know where these contracts exist. And so that is why this alias is so helpful. And actually, if we go back to our contract, there's no more error. It's successfully importing fungible token because it knows that this fungible tokens contract exists at this source, right? And so it's correctly importing everything now, which is perfect. So let's go ahead and make a scripts folder. And in this folder, we're going to make a file called get flow token total supply.cdc. And so I'm just going to write a very basic script that gets the total supply of flow tokens. So I'm going to import flow token and write a script that returns a ufix64, and this simply returns flow token dot total supply. And you can see it even is giving us like suggestions here because we've correctly set up our project. So if I go into my terminal now, I can now run this script on testnet. So I can write flow scripts execute /scripts/get flow token total supply.cdc, and then supply a network, which in this case will be testnet. So I'm going to increase the font a little bit so you can see it and run this. And we should see this is the result. So this is the total supply of flow token on testnet. And if we wanted to run this on mainnet, we could go ahead and supply a mainnet flag. And now this is the total supply of flow token on mainnet. So that is awesome. And again, it knows everything. It knows the contract addresses because we filled in the aliases in our flow.json. So that is very simple. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and run a transaction. Now, transactions are a lot more, I guess a lot more difficult with the Flow CLI because obviously you need a private key, right? We need an account, we need the private key for the account that's actually running stuff. So what we can do is we can go ahead and let's just, try this out. So let's make a new file called, I don't know what we want to call it, like destroy flow token. Okay, so we're just gonna, I guess this is a kind of weird transaction to run, but we're gonna destroy some flow token. So let's go ahead into, the transaction here. We're gonna import flow token. We're gonna write a transaction, and in this transaction, it's gonna be super simple. The signer is going to obviously, be populated inside the prepare statement. And we're going to, and again, I'm not going to explain that much of the cadence stuff. That's for a different video. But let's say we want to, let flow vault equal signer.borrow flow token.vault from /storage/flow token vault. And then what we're going to do is, get the vault out and say flow vault.withdraw. Let's say just one flow token, and then we're going to destroy the vault. So a very simple transaction that just simply destroys one flow token from the vault. So what we can do is we can, so now we have to actually, create a testnet account. So let's go ahead and do that. So inside of our terminal, we can say flow accounts create, right? Flow accounts create. And if you already have an account, then you can skip this step, but it still will be useful to show you how this is done. So I'm going to create a testnet account. I'm just going to call it testnet account. And then I'm going to choose my network. I want to create this on testnet. And so it's going to automatically create a testnet account for me, which is super nice. And again, if you already have an account, then just skip this step. But what it does is you can see in my flow.json, it automatically populates this testnet account object and this file containing the private key for that testnet account. So if you already have a testnet or mainnet account, simply just add this object in your flow.json, calling it testnet or mainnet, dash account. Put in the address here, and then put this key object here. This is type file location, and then the file name that contains the private key. Now, one note here is that if you do already have an account and you have the private key, and you're going to create the file and fill this in manually, make sure to include a 0x before your private key. So your private key will actually probably look something like this here. Like it's not highlighting correctly, but it will probably look like these numbers, but you have to include the 0x beforehand for it to read it properly. Okay, so just a quick note. So what we're gonna do before running this transaction is we obviously need to give it some flow tokens in order to destroy. So I'm going to I'm going to just give it some testnet flow really quick. Please click each image containing a frying pan. Okay, that is interesting. I'm going to quickly give it some flow token so that we can, actually run the transaction. Otherwise, we're not going to have any flow to destroy. So, okay, boom. So that is done. Awesome. So we can go back into our terminal. Let me actually open VS Code again. So I'm going to go back into our terminal. And what we're going to do is we're going to run, instead of flow scripts execute, we're going to run flow transactions send /transactions/destroy flow token.cdc. We're going to put a network equals testnet and a signer flag that equals testnet account. So this signer flag equals the name of the account that you put in the accounts object. So if you go back to our terminal and run this, we should see that it's sent the transaction, waiting for the transaction to be sealed. And once this goes through, we should see all the details about the transaction. So it's sealed, it was successful. There was an event that we withdrew one flow token from this account. So all is good in the world. And of course, if you wanted to also run this on mainnet, you could create a mainnet account and just simply change the network flag here to be mainnet. and this would be dash dash signer equals mainnet account. But I'm assuming that if you have, if you're running these on mainnet, then you probably already have an account. And in that case, you would simply just create a mainnet account.private key where you paste your private key prefixed with the 0x, and then make sure to fill in your account in this accounts object. So that concludes this video. I hope this was helpful, and thank you so much for watching. All right, see you in the next one.